So hey guys, and welcome back to Kelly TV. So Marlene called this the hashtag summer of answers. I would like to call it the hashtag summer of no answers because really we don't really know anything. And I hope that changes, like I really do. So this episode starts out with the police on the lookout for Charles De Laurentiis. It's all over the news. So at least they're on the right track, sort of, I guess. Allie is feeling uber sorry for her brother this entire episode. She is starting to realize she does have some memories of him and she doesn't want anything bad to happen to him, which I can kind of understand because, after all, he is her family. So Hannah is the only one really making sense. Even though she was kind of rude to Allie, she is hilarious. This season, Hannah has just been totally hilarious, although it did feel a little bit bad for Allie because she was saying some not so nice things about the fact that she feels bad for Charles. So Hannah tries to tell her mom that that scholarship money is totally shady, but Mrs. M isn't buying it. Clark is asking like a zillion questions of Arya at the brew, and Ezra is totally listening to this, not even trying to hide it, and she calls him out on it, which I think is good. But honestly, guys, even after all the things that happened in this episode, I still think that Clark is a red herring. Lorenzo, aka Man Candy, is getting closer to Allie, but just wait because she's gonna totally screw that up. Spencer comes up with an idea to go check out that group that gave Hannah that scholarship money. And their idea is to give the money back so they can figure out like who is actually behind this company. Tanner is back and being her usual creeptastic self. Once again, we talk about creepy dolls and Arya. Come on, guys, this has to mean something. She goes on and on about how, Arya really has an eye for this and is looking over her pictures of the creepy dolls. Please tell me down below what you think this means. It better mean something. Pretty much every episode in this season, they've talked about Arya and the creepy dolls. So I feel like the only real interesting part and sort of answer that we got in this episode was the fact that the Redcoat confirmation, I guess the fact that Redcoat is working with Charles/A is confirmed as we see them sitting together looking over surveillance video in Charles's lair. So, I guess that was sort of good, but we all already knew that she existed anyway, so I don't know. So in this episode, there's a huge emphasis on the prom, which is going to be in the finale. The girls are talking about that. Obviously, this is where the Charles/Redcoat/Black Widow reveal is going to happen. At least I hope. I hope they're not playing with us. Come on, PLL. So we meet yet another red herring, character. This one is Reese. Super good looking guy who looks, ironically, so much like Jason that they keep pointing it out. Which if they're saying that this person looks so much like Jason and he must be Charles, then he's totally not Charles. I don't know where he fits in here. He may be Jason's relative in some weird way, but sorry guys, I'm not buying that this guy is Charles. Not at all. But anyway, he thinks it's really weird that Hannah wants to give back her scholarship money. I don't really know what his role is going to be yet. If you guys have any ideas, just post them down below because I'm interested to see what you think. So Allie makes the mistake of stealing Lorenzo's police key card to get into the police station, which is just bad on like so many levels, which we'll catch up to her a little bit later. And it looks like something is going on with the new girl Nicole and Ezra, which I don't know if anyone cares. I kind of care because I've always loved Ezra together. Arya is at like that art contest benefit thing and she asks him to prom, but then it's really awkward because Nicole comes up and she's like, oh my gosh, are you guys on a date or whatever? So he doesn't really get the chance to answer, so I'm not sure what's going to happen there. But then later he's like, oh no, we weren't on a date, but I think Nicole saw it that way. Do you guys agree? Thumbs up if you agree. So Clark is being super weird at this art show. I don't know what his deal is. Don't really care, to be perfectly honest. And then of course when Arya's pictures are revealed, they are not the pictures of the creepy dolls. They are actually dolls, and they are the PLL dolls, the creepy pictures that Charles took when the girls were in that like morgue scene when they were in the dollhouse. Really weird. Not a surprise that Charles was going to tamper with this art show. But actually Charles made a threat to Tanner, or at least she thinks he did, because the picture had a caption something to the effect of "the girls aren't pretty," using the word Linda, which is a Spanish word for pretty, but Linda also happens to be Tanner's first name, so she thinks it's a threat directly toward her that, like, Charles will never be stopped. I don't know. Let me tell you my thoughts about Redcoat, though. I think Redcoat is pulling the strings, and I think that Charles is either being blackmailed or he just doesn't know any better because he's been abused his whole life, and I think that she is really the one making him do all this stuff, and maybe he doesn't really want to hurt his sister. Maybe he doesn't really want to hurt the girls. I think she's the one behind all this. What do you think? Let me know down below. So Allie gets into the police department. She sneaks into the Charles evidence room. I think there's a lot of good stuff here, so if you've DVR'd this, or if you have it like on iTunes, I think you should definitely pause it and search around, because I've heard there's a lot of good little clues like hiding in the background of the evidence room, so totally do that. What she does find there is a really like old school sterling silver baby rattle, which she said used to be hers. Charles, I guess, was hanging on to it. We don't really know why. Do you know what the significance of this is? Let me know if you think you know. I'm not really sure yet, but I guess it's kind of interesting. What I thought was interesting is that I don't know what kind of kids have silver baby rattles like that. To me, that seems like something from way in the past, but maybe that means nothing. I don't know. Of course, Tanner walks in while Allie is going through this stuff, so she gets caught there, which is not good. So Hannah, Emily, and Aria follow Reese to some warehouse. I think it was like the abandoned doll warehouse or whatever. Tanner tells Allie that they will kill Charles if they have to, which totally freaks her out because, hello, even though her brother, we think, has a lot of issues, still her family, she wanted the chance to get to know him before, like, he was killed, basically. So the girls are watching outside of this, like, warehouse, and then they see Clark show up, and then they're convinced that he's part of the A-team, which, again, I think is totally another red herring. He could be being set up. It could be totally innocent. I don't know. I'm not buying it. So sadly, Allie gets caught twice because when she comes back to Lorenzo's, he realizes that she stole his key. He's freaked out, thinks that she was using him the whole time. I think that relationship is like over before it started. And I feel bad because I think he could have been really good for her. So Tanner is looking over the surveillance of the art gallery, and she sees this guy who's tall and blonde, looks a lot like Reese, but also looks a lot like Jason. I think this is going to cause problems. It could go a lot of different ways. They may arrest Jason thinking that he was the one. Charles could have set Reese up. You know, I don't know. It could go a lot of ways, but I don't think that Reese is Charles, and I don't think that Jason is Charles, but somebody's probably going to take the fall for it. What do you think? Post down below. So, the very end was a little interesting because apparently Redcoat has purchased tickets to the Rosewood prom, and she hands those over to Charles. He has some syringes, so I don't know what he's going to do with those. They're in a limo at the end. They're obviously each other's dates for the prom, which I think is kind of cool, and I'll be interested to see how that all comes together. But the biggest question from this episode, in my opinion, is who is Redcoat? And I would love to hear who you think Redcoat is below. I think some of the top contenders for Redcoat would be Cece, Mona, Maya, and Melissa. Lots of M names there. So what do you think? There's been lots of exciting stuff going on with me and this channel. First of all, I've started doing 2 live shows every Wednesday right here on my channel because there's so much excitement for this finale. I wanted to give everyone a chance to watch the shows, and some people overseas weren't able to attend my original show, so now I have a 4 p.m. Eastern show and a 6 p.m. Eastern show. All of that information is down below. I would love to see you there the next couple of weeks. It's a lot of fun and it's totally interactive. Plus, I've been doing Periscope. Periscope is a free download associated with your Twitter account, so I'm going to Periscope directly after the East Coast airing of PLL for the next 2 weeks. I may throw in some extra ones if there's a lot of people who show up. I did it this week. There were tons of people. It was so much fun. I totally loved it. So if you haven't subscribed, please do, because there's so much going on here, and wow, I just cannot believe in 2 weeks we hopefully will learn who Charles and Redcoat and Black Widow and whoever else is. I'm so excited. Thumbs up if you think we will actually find out who all those people are, and I can't wait to see your theories about who Redcoat is below. So thanks so much for joining me for this episode. See you next time. Bye.